So I can now give you a little bit background about Python. So yung tinatawag nating Python is high level siya, which is meron siyang general purpose programming language. So dinesign ito to emphasize the code readability gamit yung mga significant indentation. So yung language na to nagko-construct siya na meron siyang object-oriented approach para ma-aim yung tulong ng mga programmers to write clear and yung mga logical code for a small and large scale of the parang mga projects na gagawin in the future. So, my name is Shenna Mariz from BSCS 3ABA, and today I'll be discussing the basic elements of the programming language Python. So for us to fully understand how Python actually works, I will be providing some example that will help us to gain more idea about this language and explaining the structures of the selections control statement. So let's proceed in the basic elements of Python. So itong mga basic data types and containers, yung Python kasi alam naman natin na may mga several mga basic data types and containers siya. So becoming familiar with them is super essential and effective ng Python sa atin as a programmer. And it is a good starting point for learning the Python language. So we will introduce the most important ones here. So ang pinakauna is yung tinatawag nating numeric types, which is it is a facility to store numbers na yun yung tinatawag natin in negative and positive integers or yung tinatawag nating zero. As a float naman, number with a decimal points, or kapag complex naman, mathematical complex siya with the real and imaginary numbers. And next is a Boolean type. So, facility din siya na nag-i-store ng mga truth values, gaya na lang yung tinatawag natin true or false. Kasi napaka-useful nito sa mga logical operations and super subtype siya sa mga int from Python 3x. So next is text sequence type. So facility din siya na nag-i-store ng mga textual data as yun yung tinatawag natin na string. So, Python does not have the separate char data type. Yung tinatawag nating mga data types sa char. Strings is sequence of one or more characters stored together. So, specified with this is the single quote, double quote, or triple quote. Immutable can be modified. And next is binary sequence type. So, it is a facility to store sequence for byte. So bytes are immutable and it cannot be modified. Byte array are mutable and can be modified. Both store sequence or byte is memory viewed provides a facility to view the internal presentations of the object. So next is set types. Facility din siya na nag-i-store ng mga elements without the meaningful order or position. But nagbibigay din ito ng give unique kakaibang advantage ng mga searching elements within the set. So it does not support the duplicate elements. A set is mutable, it can be modified, while frozen sets is mutable and it can be modified. So next is mapping type. Mapping type dictionary, and it is a facility to define the correlation from the key to value. So yung mga ID number to name is called the dictionary, and it is mutable, and when you define class, you are creating user-defined custom data type. So let's proceed on the variable names and assignment. So, yung tinatawag naman nating mga variable names and assignment is variable names are case sensitive and start with a letter or an underscore. A leading underscore may be used by a convention to indicate a variable or yung mga function na nag-i-intend on the local use only. But wala siyang special meaning dun sa Python na ini-interpret yung mga meanings niya. And yung names that starts with the end and double underscores, however, are used to special purposes to avoid the confusion. And we should rather, not to use such names for ordinary variables and functions. So there are may mga subtitles associated with the Python objects kasi, and yun yung mga names, variables, assignment, and so we cannot skip the following short notebook in short. So we can now tackle the control, your branching, and looping. So every computer language has a mechanism for branching, basing a decision about what to do next on some present condition, and looping, repeating a set of steps using until the some condition is satisfied. And this basic control structures is Python are illustrated in branching and looping notebook. Next is functions. So functions, computers are capable of doing calculations for a staggering complexity, but when programs get too complex, they are really likely to be full bags and hard to maintain. The most fundamental construct of keeping complexity under control is the function. Yun yung tinatawag natin mga function. It is yung unit code na to, nagtitake siya ng well-defined inputs to perform na well-defined operations. And yung mga yields na well-defined yung mga nagiging outputs. It can be tested, it can be moved around, and can be used to multiple parts of program, and often in many different programs. So, in addition, much of what we may think of a part of given computer language is really a collection of functions. In Python, there are built-in functions such as yung tinatawag natin list, which create a list. There are many functions in huge standard library that comes with Python. There are functions in internal libraries such as NumPy and Iscapy, and these are one's own functions. So let's proceed on the Python has three types of control structures. Yan. Sequential, default mode, selection, used for a decision and branching, repetition, used for looping, or repeating a piece of code multiple times. So yung tinatawag nating sequential, siya yung mga statements na nagsaset on the statement na meron siyang mga execution process na nangyayari in the sequence. So yung problem na to, itong mga sequential statement na to is super logic niya. And nakakapag-broke siya ng many lines na nagko-complete on the source code execution na nasisira. So selection, decision, and control statements. In Python, the selection statements are also known as the decision control statements for branching statements. So that selection statements allows a program to test several conditions and execute instructions based on which condition is true. So next is some decisions control statements are. So some of decision control statement is, yun yung tinatawag natin mga simple if else, nested if else, and else. So yung sample if na tinatawag natin, statement siya na nagko-control dun siya flow ng statement na nakakatulong sa atin to run a particular code. But only when a certain condition is met or satisfied, a simple if only has a condition to check. So yung tinatawag naman natin if else, that is if else statement, nag-evaluate naman siya ng condition na nag-execute naman siya sa body of ng mga test condition kung ito ba ay tama or yung kung true ba siya. But if the condition is false naman, then the body else is executed. So yung tinatawag naman natin nested if. So pag nested if yung statement na yun is inside another if statement. So yung if else and else, the if else statement is used as a conditional execute to yung statement naman na yun, nabablock niya yung mga ibang statements. So, yung tinatawag naman nating repetition statement, ginagamit siya to repeat a group or block a programming instructions. So in Python, we generally have two loops, repetitive statements for loop. Yun yung tinatawag nating while loop, for loop, and yung for loop kasi, ginagamit siya to iterate over a sequence na nandun sa list. Yun yung tinatawag nating tuple, dictionary, or a set. We can execute a set of statements once for each item in the list. Yun yung tuple, list, or dictionary. Yung tinatawag naman nating while loop, yung sa in Python languages, ginagamit natin yung mga loops na para ma-execute mga blocks of statement na repeatedly until a given condition is satisfied. So then the expression is checked again, and if it is still a true, the body is executed again with the continuous until the expressions becomes para maging mali na siya. So that's all for today, sir. Thank you for listening.